webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
So it's long. Second thought. If it's longer you wear, the shorter I wear.
Right.
You did it at 10:25.
Right.
David. We can, Jordan, that's how hard you hit it. So you got that. Where's the other there? Good evening. This is Mayor Rick Lawton. I call this meeting to order. I want to thank all of you for being here in attendance tonight. We have a great evening. We have a really large agenda ahead of us that makes huge accomplishments and impacts in our city. And also tonight's a very special time, and just a short time, the Strawberry Festival beginning, and we'll be honoring, two courts that is royalty in our city. And as you can see the smiles on their faces over there, we're going to do something special with them a little bit later on in the agenda. And we're also going to honor a man that has worked his entire life and dedicated himself to our community. We'll do that tonight as well. But tonight we always start off in prayer, and we always start after prayer as we have the pledge to our flag, and so that's a tradition that is long-standing. And tonight we're going to start off the same way. So this evening we're very honored to have Pastor Michael Fredette of the Liberty Southern Baptist Church that's going to lead us in prayer this evening.
For unto us a child is born, to us the Son is given, and the government will rest on his shoulders. He will be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end. He will reign on David's throne and over his kingdom, establishing and upholding it with justice and righteousness from that time on and forever. Let's pray. Yes. Father, we take pause for one moment and lift up our brothers and sisters and fellow citizens of Texas. We lift them up in prayer as they suffer through a very devastating and demanding time. We ask that you restore those who are facing hardship and loss. Father, we praise you and thank you, Lord, for sparing and keeping our city from such harm. We pray that you continue to protect us. We pray that you smooth over every mountain, calm each and every storm, and shine light into every valley that we are forced to travel through. Lord, we face the invisible enemy of this pandemic. It is our prayer that all of our public works departments, our first responders, our teachers, our public officials are shielded and protected from the destruction of this plague. Father, we pray for your godly wisdom. We invite you into all the decisions we are facing regarding this tremendous challenges before us in these difficult days. Father, we lift up all the businesses and the workers who have been impacted over this last year and pray that you restore them beyond what they once held. We pray for our farmers, and we ask for an increase in a double portion blessing. Please deliver a harvest that exceeds all expectations. During this challenging time we face, we endure and we look upon the Strawberry Festival as it comes upon us. It is our prayer that you'll grant us prosperity, provide us with favor, good weather, good conditions, protecting all our citizens and visitors. And finally, Father, it's our prayer that you continue to strengthen us so that we shall always persevere and remain victorious. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
Amen. At this time, we're going to bring our Queen, McKenna Jordan, over to lead us in the pledge. And online, if you're watching online, we have the flag up for you.
Attention, salute, pledge.
To the flag of the States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you. Pastor, thank you so much. Madam Clerk, next item.
Recognitions. Presentation of a proclamation recognizing the Florida Strawberry Festival Queen and Court.
So in a tradition here that's in our city is that we try to honor, we don't try, we actually honor and put into the history of our records both our Strawberry Queen Court and our Junior Royalty Court. And we're so honored to have them here, them along with their family and friends and their parents. But before we present the proclamations here this evening, we would like to go ahead and recognize our president, one of the most loved and popular men in Plant City, and that's our very own Paul Davis. Okay, welcome here. Also, we have our chairman of the board, which everyone knows, and has done just a phenomenal job leading our board of directors for the last 2 years and for many years before that. That's Doug McGinnis. He's in the back of the room. Doug, we love you. You know. And we also have our Queen coordinators here. And we have the two that are responsible for the Strawberry Queen Court, and that is Donna Kill and Lori Yarbrough. Both of you please stand up. And also with us this evening is the coordinator for the Junior Royalty Court, and that's Kate Varnum. Katie, where are you at, girl? There's she's back there. But a proclamation is someone that is the highest honor we bestow upon a citizen organization. And the goal of a proclamation is to honor those that spend their time trying to make Plant City a better place to live and raise a family. And you can look at our Strawberry Festival, and many of us have lifelong dreams and got started in different ag projects there or other ways of participating in the Strawberry Festival. And our stories carry on from there. And Bill, to see our youth involved in the Strawberry Festival, that's really what makes it proud. And it's a time-honored tradition in our city that keeps the culture alive of strong families. But this evening, we want to honor our Strawberry Queen Court with the first proclamation. And so I would like to ask Queen McKenna Jordan back up to the podium, and she's going to introduce her court. By the way, right now, this is being live streamed. And so if you want to watch it later, it'll be posted on several sites as well. So if you missed it right now, it will be available later on as well. Queen, please introduce your court.
Hello, my name is McKenna Jordan. I'm the Florida Strawberry Festival Queen, and I'd like to start by introducing our court members. First, we have Avery Cerency. Court member Kellyanne Kirkland. Court member Bren Murphy. And court member Kate Turner. On behalf of our court and myself, we would like to thank you for recognizing this year's festival dates. It is such an honor to be here, and we are so blessed to have this year's festival, and we are so excited for the opportunities it will bring us. Thank you.
Well, on behalf of the City Commission and of all our city, we'd like to present a proclamation in your honor. Remember, this is the highest honor that this city bestows upon a citizen. The proclamation reads, whereas the Florida Strawberry Festival began in 1930 as an event to celebrate the bountiful harvest of strawberries, whereas the Florida Strawberry Festival continues to unite citizens of our community and continues to preserve the agriculture and historical legacy of the Florida strawberry. Whereas a highlight of the Florida Strawberry Festival each year is the crowning of the Queen Anne Court. Whereas the Plant City Lions Club has sponsored the Queen's Pageant since its beginning in 1930 and provides scholarships and prizes for the finalists each year. Whereas the Queen Anne Court are chosen from among candidates between 16 and 20 years of age who are from the Plant City area and are judged on the basis of personal interviews, on-stage speaking, casual wear, evening wear, and impromptu questions. Whereas the Florida Strawberry Festival 2021 Queen Anne Court are Queen McKenna Jordan, First Maid Avery Cerences, and court members Kelly Ann Kirkland, Bren Murphy, Kate Turner. Now, therefore, I, Rick Lott, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Plant City, Florida, do hereby recognize the Florida Strawberry Festival 2021 Queen Anne Court and join with their family and friends in congratulating them on their reign during this year. Ladies, and to your families, congratulations.
Thank you.
We're all out here? Okay. Was it Smile the Queen? Is that what it is? Yvonne, is that it?
Thank you.
That's just one photo of many more coming in the upcoming weeks, isn't it? Madam Clerk?
Presentation of a proclamation recognizing Florida Strawberry Festival Junior royalty.
Okay, ladies, at this time, we'd like to ask Queen Bridget McLaughlin, will you please come up and introduce your court? What an exciting time in your life, isn't it?
Very. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name is Bridget McLaughlin. I am the Junior Royalty Queen, and I am pleased to introduce my court, starting with Baroness Kerrigan Brave. Duchess Danica Gill. And Princess Brooke Browning.
You definitely have that wave down very well. I like that. Okay. Well, again, we want to congratulate you on your, crowning of the court. And I know your family, obviously, they're here tonight and they're very proud. I'm sure we have a lot of family members watching live at home. And you'll be able to watch this later on as well and see how just well you waved so good. So walked up here. And so Yeah, congratulations. But again, I want you to recognize that this proclamation is the highest honor bestowed upon a citizen. And so this will be forever recorded in the records of our city. So you can always go online and see the night and time that you were recognized by the city for the accomplishment that you have. So at this time, I'd like to, on behalf of our commission and our city, I'd like to read the proclamation for the record. And the proclamation reads, whereas the Florida Strawberry Festival began in 1930 as an event to celebrate the bountiful harvest of strawberries. Whereas the Florida Strawberry Festival continues to unite citizens of our community and continues to preserve the agriculture and historical legacy of the Florida strawberry. Whereas the highlight of the Florida Strawberry Festival each year is the crowning of the Junior Royalty Court. And whereas the Junior Royalty are chosen from girls between 5 and 15 years of age and judged on the basis of personality, overall appearance, natural beauty, and smile. Whereas the Florida Strawberry Festival 2021 Junior Royalty are Queen Bridget McLaughlin, Princess Brooke Sidney Browning, Duchess Danica Faith Gill. Did I get that wrong? You should have seen the look on her face like, no, you didn't do that. Say it again. Danica. Okay. Duchess Danica Faith Gill. See, we'll always remember that, won't we? Okay. And Baroness Kerrigan Drake. Now, therefore, I, Rick Lott, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Plant City, Florida, do hereby recognize the 2021 Junior Royalty of the Florida Strawberry Festival as they represent our community at various parades and events during this year. Everyone, please give them a warm welcome. And Danica, I'm gonna give yours to your first, okay? So I'm starting on you. Seems as big as you are. You get the hand there. You want to put the queen in the middle? Yeah, put the queen in the middle. Katie, how do you want to do this? Okay. Say strawberry.
Thank you very much.
Well, Ms. Kill, she no longer has the gavel, so I think you're back in charge. So if you want to, we'll give you a few minutes to, to exit. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Have a great Strawberry Festival here, ladies. Does anyone else in the need to come in and have a seat? Okay. Okay, you could close the doors. Okay. Madam Clerk, next item.
Presentation of a proclamation honoring Don E. Walden Jr.
Tonight, we're going to honor the life of Mr. Don E. Walden Jr. He was a gentleman that literally over here on the right side, he was at every single commission meeting as long as I've been here on the commission, which is 17 years. And I know he was here before then. And he always had his input, his advice, his encouragement. And but it's just not was in this room, the same passion he placed as far as being a citizen of our community, always being here and having a concern and a care for the direction of our city. He did so in all the organizations he worked in as well. And tonight we have a lot of family members here, but we're going to ask one of his daughters, Linda Keller, to please come forward. And we're going to present a proclamation in honor of the life of Mr. Don Walden. Linda, it's great to see you here tonight. If I could ask the family members, just please stand up, and friends, okay? And if we could, just welcome them here this evening. We appreciate it. And so I would like to, at this time, read a proclamation in honor of Mr. Walden. There's just not enough words you can say to honor this gentleman. We all loved him dearly. Called him mentor, dad, every name in the world to show him respect, because he was a loving, caring man that just loved Plant City. And so it's hard to find someone more deserving to receive a life proclamation than Mr. Don Walden. The proclamation reads, this is on behalf of the City Commission in our city. Whereas on January 18, 2021, God in his infinite wisdom called from our community Don E. Walden Jr. Whereas Don E. Walden Jr. was a fifth-generation Plant City native and a graduate of Plant City High School and Stetson University. Whereas Don E. Walden Jr. served the nation as an Army officer for 22 years, including tours in Korea, Vietnam, and Germany. Prior to returning home to Plant City and starting his career in real estate. Whereas always actively involved in his community, Don E. Walden Jr. served many through local organizations, including the Plant City Kiwanis Club, the Greater Plant City Chamber of Commerce, the Plant City Board of Realtors, the Eastern Hillsborough Historical Society, the Plant City Arts Council, the Plant City Photo Archives and History Center, Plant City Main Street, and Plant City Entertainment. Whereas Donnie Walden Jr.'s involvement in our community included chair of the original Community Redevelopment Agency, the Affordable Housing Commission, the Occupational License Equity Study Commission, the Citizens Advisory Commission on the Metropolitan Planning Organization of Hillsborough County, and his unfailing attendance at our city commission meetings. Whereas the Plant City community recognized Don E. Walden Jr.'s outstanding dedication to Plant City when he was the recipient of the 2018 Citizen of the Year Award. Now, therefore, I, Rick Lott, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Plant City, Florida, hereby honor the memory of Don E. Walden Jr. as a highly respected member of our community who dearly loved his family and friends and was dedicated to the improvement of his hometown. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. My sister Leanne, who's probably listening or watching from Houston, Texas right now, with no broken water pipes in her house.
Fantastic.
So I'm happy about. We certainly appreciate this honor that y'all have bestowed on Daddy.
Well, I can tell you, his legacy in this town will have a lasting legacy for many, many years to come and many decades. You know,
Yeah, he's-
we're very honored to
Thank
know
you.
your father
Thank you.
and your family.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I have them come up to get in the picture?
Huh?
Can I have them come up to get in the picture?
Anyone you'd like to, yes.
Come on up.
On behalf of our city commission, we present this to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Gotta get the honor.
You're really happy time.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Isn't that one way to start a meeting? Yeah. I think it's a wonderful way. We live in a great city. Madam Clerk, next item.
Public comments?
At this time, we're open for public comment. Public comment can be any comments that would pertain to any of the public hearings we have later on in the agenda. But if you'd like to address the commission at this time, we are open for public comment. Seeing none, public comment is closed. Madam Clerk, next item.
Consent agenda?
Before I ask for approval of the consent agenda, would any commissioner like to have an item removed for further consideration?
Your Honor,
Please.
yes, I'd like to have item I removed for the comment.
Okay. Any other item? Okay. So we have a motion to approve the consent agenda excluding item I.
Second.
So do we have a motion to?
There wasn't a motion.
Go ahead and motion.
Huh?
We didn't have a motion.
That's what I'm looking for, the motion.
I'll make that motion. So approve all items except I.
Okay, and a second. Okay, we have a motion to approve the consent agenda excluding item I and a second. Any discussion? So none, please place your vote. Record the vote, please.
Did yours not come up? How will you like to vote now? Aye.
And it's approved with a vote of 5-0. Okay, we have item I, Commissioner Spartman.
Yes, Your Honor. This resolution is going before the U.S., the Florida Senate and the House. It was an item brought up by one of my close friends, Senator Malcolm Beard, some 20 years ago. And I still today believe that they should take away funding for the Regional Planning Council. I don't see what advantage it is to any of the cities. I don't know that we've hardly ever used it. And I think it's a waste of taxpayer dollars. So I would not vote to oppose the elimination of the Regional Planning Council.
Okay. So the letter we have before us and okay, asking not to eliminate the regional planning councils in the state. So you would be opposed to that resolution?
Yes, Your Honor, I would. And particularly now that we have more government, we have better government, we have more efficient government, and we have more technology now in the world than we've ever had before. And this is a redundance and a waste of taxpayer dollars. And I would not support this.
Okay. Any other comments from the commission?
I'd just like to comment on the remark Commissioner Sparta made about removing funding. Actually, there hasn't been any funding by the state of Florida for the last 5 years. When Governor Rick Scott was in office, he removed funding for all of the 10 regional planning councils. Actually, at the time, there were 12. Now there's 10. So state funding, which only amounted to $5 million at the time, has been removed. The funding that the regional planning councils work from consists of member dues by 29 cities, 6 counties. There's about a dozen gubernatorial appointings and 4 ex officio members on the board. They get an equal amount of funding derived, remarkable as it may seem, by contracts through the state of Florida that call upon them to do work on behalf of the state of Florida. Interesting that there's no funding from the state, yet the state calls on the regional planning councils to do work on their behalf on a fee basis. And that's the extent of how they constitute their means and work towards accomplishing their missions. It's been an organization that's been in place for 70 plus years. Our city has been a member for, I don't know how many of those years, but probably 30 or 40 of them at least. It's an organization that incorporates, as I said, 6 counties, 29 cities, and it serves 3.8 million people in those 6 counties.
Okay, any other comments?
My comment would be, Your Honor, that's true, but the main thing maybe needs to go private instead of being supported by the cities and county, which we're supporting. All those are in fact tax dollars. Thank you.
Well, Commissioner Dawson, when is the Senate going to take up Senate Bill 62?
Senate Bill 62 is the only bill under consideration right now. There is no companion bill for the House. It hasn't been assigned to a committee. As a matter of fact, I take that back. I believe it has assigned to a committee. It hasn't come out of the committee. It's not anticipated to come out of the committee. House of Representatives has annually supported, along with the Senate, provisions for statutory recognition of regional planning councils, even when state funding was removed by the governor. There was always unanimous support for both houses. This bill was presented by a first-year senator, and there's been, like I said, no support other than that original presentation to a committee.
Has all the other cities and counties shown
Yes.
support of this resolution?
Yes.
Okay. So we'd be the only city that would not be supporting this resolution
Right.
if we don't support it tonight. Okay. Interesting. Okay.
What is our financial commitment?
I don't know what the dues are, Mr. City Manager. I don't
I'd have to
know.
reach-
Can we ask Diane Rucker to come up and ask us?
She's shaking her head.
Yeah, we pay a dues.
We're not going to in relation to that specifically. When we attend their meetings, we go,
We can research it.
but I can be sure that
I think there's the dues.
Okay.
when we
That's
go
how
to
it
that annual meeting, we support,
So you're not showing that we do support it?
not off my.
Because I've never seen it in the budget. I didn't know, so.
Not off my brain, I can't think of any.
Usually we itemize the organizations like, Tampa EDC,
All
Pine
those,
City,
yeah.
all that.
I've never saw it, so that was news to me.
Right.
Commissioner Donaldson, if I may, what benefit do you see us deriving from participating? Do you feel like this council serves a purpose for our region?
Oh, yeah. If you read the documents, there's a number of items that's work projects that come from the staff there. And the staff is relatively small, all of which are professional planners. They deal with economic development and emergency preparation, which is a significant contribution to the Tampa Bay area, because in times of hurricanes, they publish documents to show how residents, when they've been called upon to evacuate, how they do it in an orderly manner. With urban planning, geographic information systems, regional transportation, affordable housing, resiliency, which is the newest and latest effort on their behalf. City of Plant City decided not to get involved in that, as you recall, a few years ago. But that's the original and continues to be the main thrust of what they produce as work documents.
May I ask a question? First of all, how long have you served on that council
Since
for
I've
us?
been on this board, that
Okay,
would be 19 years.
okay, and we have received several awards from the Regional Planning Council. And just the opposite of what Vice Mayor Kilton asked, if there was not a board, or if it was not a Regional Planning Council, what do you see that the city would have to do instead of what you're doing?
I think the intent is, there would be an interlocal agreement made among all the members to continue the work. That is what the, included in this information as well, and the documents that you were presented with. I don't think it will come to that. But that is what would probably occur. Each regional planning council has an executive director. Each council has a staff that varies in size depending on the size of the council itself. The Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council is the largest among the 10 and is the oldest among the 10 in the state.
Make just one more comment.
Please.
I think we've been the beneficiaries over the years of participating in and building goodwill and relationships on the various boards that we all serve on that meet with our counterparts in the city and the county. And so I think there's a qualitative benefit for having representation there because we start to get to know each other. And when there needs to be work done between Plant City or Hillsborough County, wherever the case may be, we've laid the groundwork for some of those relationships. And I think part of the way that we've been able to get some funding from the county and those other is because we've done that work over time. So I would hate to lose those opportunities to engage with our partners in the region for those particular reasons.
I think that that this is a board that it's really up to the state of Florida to decide whether it continues or not, and I would, if the board stays intact, I'd hate for us not to have a seat at the table, and because I think in every organization we have out there, even some of these boards, they don't have a huge impact in Plant City, but it allows us to be able to work with our counterparts and other municipalities and other counties so that we can build those relationships like you're talking about, Vice Mayor, so that when we do need to work on regional aspects, we have the ability to have a commonality there and a respect for one another so we can find common ground. And I totally understand where you're coming from, Commissioner Sparkman, on this 100%. This is a state decision, but I would find it to be a little bit uncomfortable if we voted not to at least to support, like all the other cities have already put their support in for this resolution. And then if it doesn't go away, then we're the lone wolf that said we don't want to be a part of this organization. I don't think that puts us in a very good light. So again, I'm not, we're not elected on the state level, and that's their decision to make this particular decision. But I don't want us to put ourselves in the light where we can't be at the table when we need to be there. So I would support this particular resolution. But I hope the state elected officials take everything into account, just like Commissioner Sparkman pointed out, when they make the decision whether they're going to continue this or not. I do realize that that this is self-funded. Okay, I'm glad we clarified or whether we're funding it or not. Obviously, we're not. But I do find a lot of value in us being at the table, and I think this, if it does continue, then we want to continue to have a seat at the table. Any other comments? Or
I will say that in the 19 years that I've served on that board, I've had the privilege of being its chair twice. And until that time, Plant City was a seat at the chair, but was never active in leadership until that time, and then had a second term, which has never occurred at the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council in its 70 years of existence. So I feel like the effects of meeting once a month among colleagues that are involved in problem-solving circumstances, not only for their community, but for their county and for the region, because not all problems are solved at a local level. It involves all of us together. And many of those that I pointed out are of that nature. It's important to have a voice and to say what you think as a representative from your community within the region.
Your Honor, I call for a question.
okay. What's the pleasure of the commission?
Move to approve the resolution.
I will second that motion.
Okay, any more further discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. Record the vote. And it's approved with a vote of 4-1. Madam Clerk, next item.
Reports of officers, boards, and committees.
Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Commissioners. I've got several items to review tonight. I want to start out with reporting on a recent decision I have made to support our planning and zoning staff with some funding for staff augmentation. I've allocated $25,000 as a not to exceed amount for this purpose. As you are all aware, we are inundated with a lot of development, as well as all the normal business that flows through our zoning, planning and zoning operation. We recently did this with engineering as well. I see this as a stopgap. The planning and zoning department has recently added 2 new planners to their staff. And as these individuals come up to speed, we will have additional depth and capabilities to deal with the amount of work that is coming in. But I wanted to give them an opportunity to be able to catch up on the current workload, stay current, because it's very important to our development community that we're able to move these reviews through in a timely and effective manner. And that is the purpose of this staff augmentation funding allocation. And I just wanted to report that to you. It is being funded out of contingency in the current budget. My next item will result in an action item by the commission. As you know, for the last 3 years, we've been trying to get the Certified Public Manager program up and running here for our various management, whether they be mid-level, executive level, and in some cases, even up-and-coming managers. The Certified Public Manager program is the gold standard in the state of Florida. Madam Clerk, you have my presentation. It is the gold standard of public manager training, not only in Florida, but throughout the United States. And we have been trying, as I said, for the last 3 years to get it here. First hurdles we ran into had to do with scheduling, and then we got hit with the pandemic. The program was actually shut down for most of 2020. We now have been able to get on the schedule. We have been able to form a cadre and have this program brought to us, and we are able to put up to 25 of our management team into this program. It is 18 to 24 months in length, broken down into 8 levels. These are some of the agencies in Florida that are participants in this program. And I think as you look through the various state constitutional officers, counties, and cities, you can see it's very well represented throughout the state. And again, it is kind of the gold standard for this type of training. The curriculum is broken down into 8 levels, as I said, and I provided you with copies of this presentation so you can read in detail what some of the programs cover. All of the courses have a flat fee of $8,000 with the 1 through 7, and the final level, number 8, is $8,750, and that's for the 25 participants. The difference in 1 through 7 and 8 is simply that there is an expense to the graduation for the folks that complete this program, and that's why the additional on the last level. The total tuition that we will expend over the 18 to 24 months is $64,750. And as you know, we have been budgeting $30,000 a year for this specific purpose, and we are now in the position to move forward with that. It is an allocation that is in the budget. It has been in the budget for the last at least 2 years, and we will continue to put it in. I see this as an ongoing program as we get the first group of our managers through. We will continue to work with Florida State University, who hosts this program, to continue it in one form or another. Whether we have 25 candidates to create our own program or cadre, we will partner up with other agencies. But I think this is a very important program, and it's a great way to enhance the knowledge base and the effectiveness of our management team throughout the city. This slide just gives you some of the areas that the program concentrates on as the students go through the program. This is how our 25 participants break down throughout the city. And I will mention that one slight variation on this theme is that the police department is going to have 6 of their management staff participate, and the police department will provide funding for their participants through a existing educational program that they have that is funded, and they're able to use that money for this purpose. So those tuitions will come off of the top on our total expenses from the general fund. And that is it. And I do have a resolution asking for your approval of the letter of agreement with Florida State University relating to the city engaging in this program. And we will begin our first group of students, I believe, in March. And I better find out because I've been enrolled. I'm told I have to lead by example and I have to do all this homework, so.
Well, that's definitely leading by example. You sure putting the pressure on yourself, though.
It's going to be interesting.
Oh, we have faith in you.
At least you picked the right university.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that.
And I'm gonna say ditto to that.
That couldn't go quietly, could it, you know?
Couldn't lose that softball.
I tell you what, when you get a chance, you gotta take your shot, right?
I want to make,
Okay, any questions for the city manager?
I just want to make a comment. I think this is awesome. And after those 25, you'll all start at the same time and then finish. That I suggest that once those 25 participants finish, that we have a graduation for them as well here, even though I know they probably do that at Florida State, that that we could see that. And then those 25 can impart that knowledge to others here, and then we'll start another group of 25. I think it is awesome.
That's a great idea,
Yes.
Mr. Mathis.
Yes.
Looks like Florida State's taking over at City Hall. doesn't it? That's a great idea, wonderful idea. Any other questions for the city manager?
Okay.
Yes.
Comment for the city manager. A question. This is a certification program, so I assume that the instructors are coming from the academic field at Florida State University, and most likely part of this graduate program of School of Public Administration. Is that right?
That is correct, as I understand it. If they don't provide all of the instructors out of the university, they're all instructors that are working with contracted through the university. They completely manage and deliver all content in the program.
I'm familiar with a program like this. North Carolina has the same type of program that's operated through the Institute of Government, University of North Carolina, where I attended graduate school. And the program is anything of the same caliber. I know it's going to be a very helpful program for extending learning opportunities to deserving people that want to aspire to higher office and gain knowledge. Well, support it.
Well, our employees are our most important asset, and we have to invest in their education, so I think this is wonderful. Are there other comments? Do I have a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second. Moved to second. Any discussion? Seeing none, please place your vote. Record the vote, please. And the University of Plant City is now officially in business. Okay, Mr. City Manager.
I'm going to let you all know when I'm in those 4-day classes. So.
No copy and pasting now off Google, so.
Yeah. We have a presentation tonight by our Fire Chief, David Burnett, and he is recognizing our EMS Chief James Maxwell's recent graduation from the National Fire Academy's Executive Fire Officer Program. Chief Burnett.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I was recently notified by Tanya Hoover, who's the superintendent of the National Fire Academy, that James Maxwell, the EMS chief, successfully completed the Executive Fire Officer Program recently. The Executive Fire Officer Program is a 4-year program and involves 4 courses at the master level of academic rigor. And the course requires completion of 4 master level research papers, similar to thesis statements. The best part of the program, other than networking, is those research papers and research conducted actually gets applied to practical issues within the fire department and community. There is a primary focus on leadership, executive development, community risk reduction, and fire service integration and emergency management. The Executive Fire Officer Program also requires 2-week attendance in Emmitsburg, Maryland each year. However, in 2020, due to COVID, Chief Maxwell was not able to attend in Emmitsburg. He attended virtually to complete his last class. It's safe to say the Executive Development Program at the National Fire Academy is a premier leadership training program. With that said, Commission, City Manager, I would ask you to come forward, take a picture as I present the certificate to EMS Chief James Maxwell for completing the Executive Fire Officer Program in 2021.
Now Jackson, come on up.
That's precious. That's something I would do.
Yeah, it was bigger. The hard work was with him and this one over here taking care of the kids. So just to kind of give you a little background, this has been a huge sacrifice for my family and the department. But just really quick to give you the backstory of this year in the virtual platform. I'm the EMS chief, so I deal with COVID. And every year, 1 through 4, the end goal is for me, but everybody's got a piece of it. Year 1 is my wife, year 2 is my kids, year 3 is the support of my parents with the kids and my wife, keeping her sane through this process. But year 4 is to Chief Burnett. I had to be rescheduled 3 times initially before my 4th virtual, and I was ready to give up. I was ready to be a year 3 dropout. And when he heard of the news that it was going, he came to me and sat me down and said, "No, we're going to work this out and we're going to finish it." So virtually 2 days a week, 3 hours a day. I was sitting in front of a computer that dealt, with work time, personal time, and everything else. But he encouraged me to get to the finish line. So year 4 is for Chief Burnett, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be receiving this today. And that's where this city commitment is. And I appreciate the chief, the mayor, the commission, and everyone, because everybody has a little piece of this. So I just want to say thank you to everyone that's involved.
For EMS Chief James Maxwell, congratulations again. Obviously, your names, family's name should be on there as well, but you had to live with them being virtually that whole time. So congratulations. And I mean, that's brutal making your kids stay here all the time. You want to take that in here, feel free to. You have a soccer player there. He's ready to go kick a ball, So. Congratulations to you and your family.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
City Manager.
On Friday, February the 12th, you will all recall, we had the great pleasure of attending the annual Black Heritage Banquet. And during that event, the city was presented with this plaque in recognition of the city's ongoing sponsorship and support of that event. But also at that event, Commissioner Sparkman was recognized with the Humanitarian Award. So it was kind of a double header for Plant City, and certainly a very important night for Commissioner Sparkman to be recognized with that prestigious award. Well, continuing the theme of Black Heritage Month and Black History Month, our police department, under the leadership of Chief Bradford, has assembled an amazing history of the Black police officers in our city And it's interesting that several of us are very knowledgeable of some of these individuals, having known them. And I had the pleasure of working with two of the early pioneers, Lee Candace and Carlton Cooper, who were both sergeants when I started the police department. And I had the distinct pleasure of working on squads with both of them. But Chief Bradford called me down to show me the display that they put together in the lobby, and they've done a phenomenal job. And the chief is here tonight to do a presentation on that display and talk a little bit about what they have done. So with that, I call it Chief Bradford.
Welcome, Chief.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Preserving the past and embracing the future is not just a tagline here. It's something that we at the police department fully embrace. And with that, we wanted to, in honor of Black History Month, we wanted to honor and recognize and pay tribute to the 5 original African-American police officers that were hired by the city of Plant City. In 1959, Lee Candace was asked to apply for police officer. He only worked about a week or so because he could make more money working construction. Fast forward to 1961, Chief Spooner asked him to come back, and he hired on, followed by Henry Perry. Shortly thereafter, 1965, Carlton Cooper was hired. 1967, King Solomon Gant and Roosevelt Bobby Miller. When we started putting this all together, we formed a team consisting of Sergeant Van Dyne, who is here tonight, Corporal Carmack, Executive Assistant Carmen Butts, Telecommunicator Violet Hill, and Officer Priscilla Clark, excuse me. They fanned out and contacted the families and told them what we were doing and asked for patches, badges, photographs, stories, anything that we could do to put forth for a display. And also, I would like to recognize Carrie Miller's office, the clerk. They helped us get some old personnel records, which gave us a look into the past. Shelby Bender from the East Hillsborough Historical Society, as well as the Plant City Photo Archives. So when we started putting this together, it formed up, and we were able to finish, and we were able to meet with the families. And one of those families has been extremely supportive of this effort, and it is the family of Roosevelt Bobby Miller. And some of those family members are here tonight, and I would ask that they stand so we could recognize them and thank them for their support. Should be noted that Bobby Miller was the first Black detective at the police department, and he was a crime scene investigator trained in the 1970s when that was just in its infancy. So he was more of a pioneer in that field. The display is open to the public from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday at the police department, and we urge all of that are interested in coming by to see what we have and learn a little bit about the history in Plant City, something that we're not sure was ever tapped before. We're very proud of it, and like I say, we encourage others to see it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I want to point out, you really have to go down and see the display up close and personal and look at the artifacts that have been assembled to really appreciate it. And I also want to mention, you know, I worked for Lee Candace and Carlton Cooper. They were my sergeants, and they were great guys to work for. But I also had the distinct pleasure of working with Bobby Miller, and not mentioned by the chief that in addition to law enforcement, Bobby Miller was also a United States Marine. And he was also quite accomplished in the art of karate, and he is well known in the community for his skills. There are many legends and stories that can be told. And I encourage everyone with an interest, take the time to go see the display. The police department has done a fantastic job with it.
Excuse me, I want to make a comment. First of all, thank you so much. I was there a couple of days ago to see the display, and some of the items that caught my attention. If you had breakfast or lunch at the Brick House, that was the old jail. Believe it or not, they had the set of keys that they used. I'm like, are you serious? They also had the keys to the police station, the jail, that was the old Publix on 39. But while I was there, this gentleman walked in. Believe it or not, Carlton Cooper came in, and I wish you had added that picture because the police officer was there, Officer Carmack, and Van Dyne was there, and Ms. Carmen was there. We took pictures with him. He had been there before, but he brought his wife and granddaughter, which is, I think, a freshman at Plant City High. But to hear his stories about what went on back in those days when he was an officer, but the paperwork to show what the officers went through and the arrest. And I want to tell you one comment, if you can get with Miss Carrie, because she has these nice folders of archived papers that were being destroyed, that we need to really preserve those papers. And she has, what she had brought, what, these nice, beautiful books to preserve the paper. But please go by and see. It is a great display, and we appreciate all of you and all that you have done with this display. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. It was our honor to do it.
Thank you.
Chief, on behalf of all of us, we want to thank you for your leadership and put this together, and to the team that worked so hard to make this, important display in our police department. And could you just say for everyone, because we have individuals listening right now, just how long this display will be down at the police department? And I know the times are from 8 to 5, but for how long will that be on display?
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. We plan on keeping up at least until mid-April, if not longer. So we kind of missed our deadline of having it fully operational open to the public for February 1st due to a myriad of things. But we want to keep it open for everybody to enjoy.
Well, great. But thanks for your leadership in this, you and your team. And we encourage everyone to stop by and see this display at our police department. Thank you so much.
And one other thing, thank you to the family members that are here tonight. We really appreciate that you had took the time out of your evening to be here. So thank you very much.
Part of our proud history.
Yes, thank you. So
Congratulations.
Before we get off the theme, in addition to our usual officers that work the commission meeting for us, we have Officer Dennis Pulaski and Officer Trent Eckert out in the hallway. But I wanted to point out that the chief brought with him tonight Captains Jerry Swan and Dave Millick, who are trying to sneak out. But also, I want to point out that with them tonight, we have Corporal Stevie Carmack. And I want to point out Sergeant Van Dyne, Al Van Dyne, is also trying to sneak out. Vice Mayor Kilton, I learned a very valuable lesson last week. I had the pleasure of filming a video on the police department with Sergeant Van Dyne as my co-star. And I now have the highest view count on YouTube I've ever had. So if you're looking to boost your numbers, maybe you could feature Sergeant Van Dyne in another visual. I've always dreamed of being a YouTube star. I'm not there, but he's gotten me closer than I've ever been. So
You're on your way.
Thank you, Al, for that.
Thank you.
With that, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, that concludes my report and presentations tonight. I'll allow the rest of my report to stand for itself, and I stand for questions.
Any questions, City Manager? Seeing none, City Attorney?
No report, Ms. Ma'am.
City Clerk?
No report.
Commissioner Mathis?
Yes, sir. I want to say to Ms. Moody, thank you so much for the Black Heritage Banquet. And again, congratulations to our own Commissioner Michael Sparkman for receiving that award. And that is my comments for this evening. Oh, one other thing. To the Plant City Sadie Gibbs Martin Community Center staff, on yesterday, and somebody put it on Facebook, I had the opportunity, they had a spin class, a 50-minute ride spin class. I am very sore, but if they do it again, you need to make sure, and I see Mr. Tony Smith was there. We were riding a 50-minute ride. It was awesome, a good workout, and I appreciate all that you're doing for the community. Now, when I got ready to leave about, we got ready to leave about 11, when the center opened, there were 50 guys ready to play basketball. I say, look, y'all need to come and do this spin. They say, no, we'll be on the basketball court. But we appreciate all that Julie's doing, and that was awesome. So thank you very much.
Madam Clerk.
I do have a report. I apologize. I just wanted to let you know that Mary Thomas Mathis for Group 5.
That's me.
Has been, she qualified without opposition, so she is going on another 3 years. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. She was so happy, she went and celebrated by doing 50 minutes on a spin bike. I tell you, that's how you do it. Now, Commissioner Mathis, could Tony do 50 minutes?
Yes, he did.
He did.
He did very well.
Okay.
I give thanks to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, to my wonderful, supportive, handsome husband, Tony, to my children, Anthony, Adrian, to my grandchildren, Eric Alden and little Miss Cassidy, to my fellow commissioners, to my family, my friends. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love what I do for the city. This is my city. I was born and raised here, went to college, came back, and I'm going to continue to work hard for this city as we move and we grow. So you'll be hearing more from Mary Mathis. So thank you very much. And thank you, Ms. Gary.
Mr. Dodson.
Well, just want to express my appreciation for the 21 years that you've served on the city commission, of which I've served with you 19 of those, and you've always been right there. I've always been right here for the most part. So we've got to know one another very well, and certainly you're a very dedicated, hardworking representative for the whole city, of which we truly admire. And we look forward to 3 more years working with you.
Thank you.
Job well done.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Mr. Sparrow.
Thank you, Your Honor. Also want to wish you well. 21 years, going for 100. So keep it up, keep it up. You'll make it. But congratulations on that. Your Honor, I don't really have any comment other than say that we are making every effort to make this a successful part of Strawberry Festival and a safe one for everyone in attendance. So we just pray that God would look after us and bless us. Last year, we were completely blessed in that we only the last weekend was affected by the pandemic, and we had a good year. Hopefully we'll have successful this year, but we need to keep the theme going, and it is part of Plant City. So no further comment, Your Honor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Just bearing the congratulations to colleague Commissioner Mathis for being reelected again. Happy you didn't have any opposition. And to Commissioner Sparkman for your recent accolades. Congratulations, well deserved, sir. No further report, Your Honor.
Thank you, and I echo the same thoughts, Commissioner Mathis. Your love and passion for this community shows, and the community showed you how much they love you. And congratulations on another 3 years, and I know you'll work hard, you know. And Commissioner Sparkman, it was great to see you honored the other night, and I don't think the city can honor you with enough awards with all the putting your life into and soul into this city like you have. And so it was great to see you get honored again. And I hope we receive many, many, many more, you know, and that will be my comments. I'm very excited about the Strawberry Festival coming up, and I know this committee will do its best to make sure it's successful and safe. Madam Clerk, next up.
Public hearings. Mayor, would you like to, we have several quasi judicials mixed in with our other public hearings. I didn't know if you wanted to go ahead and swear people in that.
Let's do this. Let's go ahead. If you plan on, tonight we have a mixture of legislative hearings and quasi judicial hearings. And since we have several quasi judicial hearings tonight, if you're planning on speaking tonight on item 7C, number 2 on the agenda, okay? 7D2 on the agenda, or E1 on the agenda, okay? So is any of the items, the public hearings we're having that are quasi judicial, if you would, please stand at this particular point in time and then be sworn in by our clerk.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
And again, as always, when you participate in the public hearing, you'll state your name and address. But if it's a quasi judicial hearing, you also need to state that you've been sworn in as well. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk.
This is a legislative public hearing on a resolution entitled, "A Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Plant City, Florida, approving development agreement, directing the sale of property therein described, and authorizing the city manager to execute said development agreement on behalf of the city."
Okay, this is a public hearing, and we'll start off with a presentation from our city manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Commissioners, as you know, not too long ago, the city acquired the parcels of property at the corner of the intersection of Wheeler Street and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. That would be the northeast parcels. And we put those parcels out as an RFP for proposals to develop a mixed-use building on that property. The successful respondent to the RFP was Solution Source, a local company who have proposed a 3 to 4 story building. Right now, the concept is commercial on the bottom, 2 floors of residential above, and then hopefully a rooftop element as the 4th level. We have been working with them, and we meaning myself and the city attorney, working with Solution Source, their team, and their counsel, Mr. Keith Smith, to come up with the development agreement, which is the subject of tonight's action. This development agreement is very similar to others that you have seen, for example, with our Midtown negotiations in the past. And what it calls for is that Solution Source, as we move forward, will come back with a development plan showing in detail what will be built on that property, and that is for review and approval by the City Commission. They will also demonstrate to the Commission their ability to finance the construction of that building. And once that is done and we move forward, we would engage in a real estate purchase agreement with Solution Source for that property. And we would actually sell that property under the REPA for $581,514.36. Under the conditions of the development agreement, once the building has been constructed as approved in the development plan, the city would then refund the purchase price to the developer, and we would end up with a brand new mixed-use, multi-story facility on that property, which is the original stated goal of the RFP. The REPA and the purchase price is held basically as the insurance policy for the city to ensure that the development is carried out in the manner that is approved and desired. And again, once the developer has met all of the conditions of the development agreement, we then would refund that money so that they move forward with their developed project, and we have nice infill development on the edge of our downtown. Those are the highlights of the development agreement under consideration tonight. And we also have a presentation from the Solution Source team tonight. They have a video, and in that you will see some of the details of their current plan. But again, as a part of the development agreement, they will be coming back with a formal presentation of their development plan as a part of this process.
Okay. Any questions for the city manager? None? Okay. And who will be presenting from?
Good evening, Keith Smith, 1 Lake Morton Drive, Lakeland, Florida. It's a pleasure to be in front of the commission this evening. Mr. Mayor, fellow commissioners, city attorney, city manager, Madam Clerk. It's a pleasure to represent Solution Source this evening with your consideration of development agreement for what we call the Wheeler Street Station project, which is a mixed-use commercial and residential project at the corner of Wheeler Street and Martin Luther King Boulevard in downtown Plant City. We are here to answer questions that you may have. Tonight, we have both the owners of Solution Source, Michael and Shelley Jemison, as well as their engineer, architect, and real estate professional. But first, before questions, we have a video presentation, which we'd like to present to the commission, sort of outlining the project, as well as how that project will interact with some of the downtown elements. So I don't know if someone has that switch.
I can do it.
Good, because I don't.
Can our viewers online see this as well?
Video.
Madam Clerk, can our viewers online see this as well?
Yes.
Thank you.
Over time, a community slowly changes, responds, evolves, and transforms. This happens as city, business, and community leaders work together to create change that benefits the individuals, families, and the businesses that call that place home. This opportunity is happening again in our hometown, Plant City. Hi, I'm Mike Jemison, and I'm excited to share my vision for the next pivotal step for Plant City's downtown revitalization. Welcome to the future Wheeler Street Station, located at the corner of Wheeler Street and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. It has almost become invisible as we all pass by it each day. But now, its time has come to serve our community in a new and meaningful way. Thanks to the City of Plant City's commitment to our downtown and their investment into this project, we will all be able to enjoy the next chapter for this property. We are planning an exciting mixed-use development on this important corner of our community and look forward to expanding the utilized boundaries of our downtown areas. Our goal is to blend Plant City's historic architectural style and railroad heritage while incorporating modern amenities and design techniques.
I'm Marlon Lynn, and I have a passion for downtowns. As an architect, I feel we all see the vibrance and growth of our downtown as a reflection of the entire community. It's truly my pleasure to be working on the Wheeler Street Station project. Plant City has a rich history and feels authentic. It's our goal to capture the vibrance of its diverse residents and understand more about their dynamic interests. My passion is to build on that authenticity, to bring out its rich elements and make downtown even more memorable. Wheeler Street Station will be an actual home to some, and for others, a favorite place to visit.
Our work on this piece of land will be another catalyst for the continued growth and success of our community. And the interest in being part of Wheeler Street Station is already growing.
A community's downtown is the heart of their city. It's one of the major factors that companies look at when deciding one location versus the next. This particular site in downtown sat underutilized for many years in Plant City, and the city's decision to build that partnership was really critical in this project succeeding. One of the first companies that I interacted with was a company called Solution Source, a local company here ran by Mike and Shelley Jemison. True leaders, pioneers in the community, they decided to invest in downtown and build something truly special for this city that frankly we haven't seen in decades. This is going to be a great, wonderful, mixed-use commercial project And the Plant City EDC is excited to be part of this project and future tenants of the building.
Growth is important to this area because of our strategic location along the I-4 corridor. For a new building coming to downtown, it's been a long time since we've had one, but I think the timing is right. One of the most important things is keeping our sense of community and keeping our sense of traditions that are here. We're able to do that by taking a look at these projects, making sure they're built in the right places, and that they're built with the right feel, the right uses, and the right folks putting it together. And I think in this case, you certainly have that. Ace Realty and Auction is based right here in historic downtown Plant City, and we're excited to be representing this project both on a residential and commercial basis.
Everything that entails with Plant City is family, small town, and community, and we want to bring that feel to our salon. So Wheeler Street Station is literally the ideal spot for us. We love how the historic downtown Plant City feels.
It's going to be a great place to have a girls' day, have that community bonding, come with your sisters, your mom, bring your friends.
The building is going to be absolutely beautiful. It's going to have that old feel, but the new features to it. So it's going to look brand new, but also fit in with the historic downtown that Plant City has to offer.
Our downtown area defines who we are as a community. We are a place that's alive and building more momentum every day. Plant City's history is steeped in a tradition that guides us with a steady hand. The future is ours to create together.
We invite you
to join us
as we capture and create
the magic of all that's possible
at Wheeler Street Station.
Welcome to the webinar. You have entered as an attendee in listen-only mode.
Thank you. Good evening. So we're going to go over all the annexations that we've gotten over the last several months tonight. In total, we have 6 annexation applications represented here in these graphics with a total of 16 parcels totaling 305.75 acres. Our first annexation application, 2020-03, is 8 parcels totaling approximately 68.45 acres located at the northeast corner of North Wilder Road and East Sam Allen Road. The reason for the annexation listed on the application was for future development. There were no objections from reviewing agencies, though Hillsborough County noted that Sam Allen is planned to be extended as a 4-lane road in this area and may affect development in the future, but they did not object to the request. Next annexation is 2020-04. This is 3 parcels totaling 209.15 acres located at the northwest corner of Charlie Taylor Road and Swindell Road. Again, the reason on the application listed for this annexation was future development. There were no objections from reviewing agencies on this particular request. Our next request we combined into 2 as they're right next to each other and necessary for both to be annexed. So we have 2 parcels totaling approximately 20.55 acres located at 1411 and 1419 South Wiggins Road. The reason for the annexation is to develop a mixed-use project that includes residential, recreation, open space, and a private athletics training facility for 1411 South Wiggins Road, and for 1419 South Wiggins Road is joining into the city just to bridge the gap because it was creating a bit of an enclave there. Reviewing agencies had no objections to the proposed annexation. This particular application has a future land use and rezoning in currently. Our next is annexation 2020-06, 2 parcels totaling approximately 6.66 acres located at 414 and 422 North Wiggins Road. These parcels are being annexed into our Eastland Industrial Project. The reason for the annexation is to allow the parcels to be combined with that project for the purposes of stormwater management and buffering. Reviewing agencies had no objections to the proposed annexations. Annexation 2020-07 is 1 parcel totaling 0.94 acres located at 3509 North Wilder Road. The reason for the annexation is for this parcel to eventually be included in the North Park Isle development, and reviewing agencies had no objections to this annexation as well. And on December 9th, 2020, the Planning Board found 7-0 the proposed annexations consistent with Chapter 171 of the Florida statutes concerning annexing properties, and voted to forward the annexations to the City Commission with a recommendation of approval. So staff recommends the City Commission adopt an ordinance approving the proposed voluntary annexations located on North Wilder Road, South Wiggins Road, North Wiggins Road, and Charlie Taylor Road. I'm here if you have any questions.
Any questions, Ms. Baker? Seeing none, thank you very much. This is a public hearing regarding item 7B on the agenda. Would anyone like to address the commission at this time? Please come forward, state your name and address. And welcome to our commission meeting.
Good evening, everyone, commissioners, mayor. Colin Rice, 108 East Kennedy Boulevard, Tampa, Florida, 33602. I'm here on behalf of Mr. Blaine Fox. I believe it's 05, the 1411 South Wiggins Road. We just respectfully request your approval. I've been here a couple of times, so if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is a public hearing. Anyone else like to address us concerning this item on the agenda? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Pleasure of the commission.
Move for approval, Your Honor.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Seeing none, please place your vote. Record the vote, please. And it's approved with a vote of 5-0. Happy to have them. Yeah, welcome to the city. Yes. We love having you amongst us, and I'm sure we'll be great neighbors as always, you know, with all the future plans that you have. Madam Clerk, next item.
This is a legislative public hearing on an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Plant City, Florida, adopting an amendment to the comprehensive plan and the comprehensive plan future land use map as provided by law and providing for an effective date, PC/CPA 20-05.
Okay, this is a public hearing, and we have a presentation by Mr. Mark Hudson.
Yes, Mayor.
Good morning.
Yes, Mayor. Mark Hudson, Planning Commission staff. Can you hear me?
We hear you now, Mr.
Now we
Hudson.
can, yeah.
Great. So if we can just bring up my PowerPoint. Thank you, City Clerk. We have two plan amendments to present to you this evening. The first is Plant City Comprehensive Plan Amendment, PCCPA 2005. If I can have the next slide. This is the location of the plan amendment site located on your vision map. Generally speaking, it's east of North Park Road, north of Interstate 4, west of North Water Road, and south of East Sam Allen Road. As you can see on your vision map, it is in very close proximity to an identified commercial activity center at the corner of Park and Interstate 4. If I could have the next slide. This shows you a little bit better idea of the site that's being affected by this plan amendment. The area affected is surrounded by the lavender dash line. It is being proposed to be developed in combination with the lands directly to the west at the corner of East Sam Allen Road and North Park Road. If I could have the next slide. By way of a little bit of background, this is a privately initiated plan amendment. It is over 10 acres, so we have transmitted this to the Department of Economic Opportunity for their review. They had no objections. It is approximately 20.09 acres. Currently, it has a land use of Hillsborough County Residential 1, and the applicant has requested Plant City Commercial. If I could have the next slide. This is the future land use map as it stands today. You can see the red commercial color of the corridor that starts on Park Road at Interstate 4 and goes all the way to Sam Allen Road. This other area that we're discussing today is served by the black dashed line on this map. You can see the light green color of the land use designation of Hillsborough County Residential 1, which allows one residential unit per acre. And you can see the very beginnings of North Park Isles to the north and to the west in that darker yellow color, which is Plant City Residential 6. Okay, if I could have the next slide. And if this plan amendment is approved this evening, you can see how the land use map would change. It would match the designation that is directly to the west. And as I mentioned, these two parcels are going to be developed in unison. If I could have the next slide. I did take some photographs and obtain some aerials to give you a general idea of the character of the area. This is an aerial, of course, showing the site as you're looking to the north and west. Next slide. And the applicant will have a more in-depth presentation on this, but as we all may know from my previous presentation, this is envisioned as the new location of the South Florida Baptist Hospital, and this is an artist rendering of that development. If this plan amendment and the following zoning later on your agenda is approved this evening. If I could have the next slide. Just another few photographs showing you how the area looks today. This is looking northeast at the intersection of North Park and Sam Allen Roads. Next slide, please. And this is actually looking on to the south at the map amendment site that comprised 2005. And this is looking east at the homes along East Sam Allen Road that would be directly to the north of the plan amendment site. Next slide. And this is looking south at some of the homes along North Water Road in the general vicinity of the land use map amendment. Next slide. So what is the impacts of this potential plan amendment? We did evaluate this on maximum build out. The applicant's agent could give you a bit better idea of what the true build out would be based on the zoning that you will have presented to you in a moment. The residential potential only garners up and increases slightly. However, as you can see, the commercial entitlements do increase significantly from about 30,000 square feet up to 300,000 square feet. If I could have the next slide. We did review this per the Imagine 2040 Plant City Comprehensive Plan, particularly your future land use element. and also in particular certain sections. The complete objectives, goals, and policies are in your packet for your review. We found that consistent with those policies, and particularly those that we identified in the staff report, and felt that it was consistent with policies related to neighborhood conservation, community development, and hometown charm. Have the next slide. Also sections dealing with the policies dealing with annexation, which of course this parcels were recently annexed into the municipality, commercial development, growth management. Next slide, please. And finally, the provision of public facilities and economic growth. Again, we felt that all these policies supported the applicant's proposal to transition this from Hillsborough County Residential 1 to Plant City Commercial. If I could have the next slide. We did talk to your utilities director and did get indication that there is capacity to serve this site both with wastewater services and water services. Transportation analysis would be conducted related to the following zoning that you'll hear in a few moments. And since this is not to be developed with residential development, there were no issues dealing with school capacity. If I could have the next slide. This was reviewed by the Planning Commission on September 14th of last year. They did unanimously recommend its approval based on finding it consistent with the Imagine 2040 Plant City Comprehensive Plan. The Planning Board also had a unanimous recommendation a few weeks later on September 23rd. You did give us direction to transmit this to the Department of Economic Opportunity on November 9th. We did receive a letter with no objections from them about 30 days later, and we are here today to discuss and take public input concerning the adoption of this plan amendment. Next slide. So with that, our Planning Commission staff recommends to the Plant City Commission that you approve an ordinance adopting PCCPA 20-05, changing the land use of the affected parcels from Hillsborough County Residential 1 to Plant City Commercial. And and with that, Mayor, I conclude my presentation and stand for any questions. And it is also my understanding that the applicant's agent is present to make a presentation as well.
Any questions, Mr. Hudson? Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Hudson. Please stand by in case we have other further questions later on. Also, the applicant, we have Ms. Elise Bassel will be representing the applicant. Ms. Bassel, good to see you.
Nice to see you, Elise Bassel, Stearns Weaver Miller. Since this is a companion case to the plan development quasi-judicial hearing that's coming before you next, we've prepared one large presentation for you with everything to try to be more efficient, if that's acceptable.
So that'll be representing this hearing as well as the quasi-judicial later?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please go ahead.
Oh, would you like to go ahead with the plan development?
You're doing the quasi-judicial? Fair enough, I'll be fine with that.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. We'll reserve our comment.
Okay, this is the public hearing regarding item 7C1 on the agenda. Would anyone like to address the commission this time? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. We will take action on this after we have the quasi-judicial hearing on the next item 7C2. Madam Clerk, next item.
Is the quasi-judicial public hearing on an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Plant City, Florida, rezoning property located the east of North Park Road, north of Interstate 4, west North Wilder Road, and south of East Sam Allen Road from Hillsborough County AR Agricultural Single Family Dwelling District to PD Plan Development District in accordance with the plan development site of Baycare Hospital Plan Development District as filed in the office of the city clerk.
Welcome back again, Ms. Baker.
Thank you. Good evening again. Robin Baker, Senior Planner with the Planning and Zoning Department. And unfortunately, I was not sworn in. I stepped out of the room.
Okay.
So,
Please raise your hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
All right. So our next case is PB 2020-27 for the Baycare Hospital Plan Development Zoning District. The site is located at the southeast corner of East Sam Allen Road and North Park Road and is approximately 50.74 acres. The current future land use on the property is commercial and Hillsborough County Residential 1. And tonight the request is to rezone from C1A and Hillsborough County Agricultural Rural Zoning Designation to a Planned Development District, which we will refer to as Baycare Hospital Plan Development. The applicant proposes a hospital development would support commercial, office, helipad, and medical uses not to exceed 773,582 square feet. The applicant has proposed these specific uses that are on the slide. I'm not going to read them all to you, but they are limited to these types of uses, which essentially are convenience commercial, medical office, regular business professional office, and personal service type uses. Here's a view of the site plan. Here's a little closer view, and one of the things I wanted to point out that I don't particularly have a slide for is along the southern and eastern boundary of the site, staff asked the hospital to provide some protection for the properties that were left still in the county that were larger lot residential zonings, and they did provide an enhanced buffer along those two boundaries, including a 6 to 8 foot high hedge, as well as some other landscaping to help protect and mitigate for those residents. So a portion of the property was recently annexed into the city and is currently undergoing a land use change, which you just heard. Under our new plan development code, the applicant is asking for a specific approval, which is to have a maximum height of 110 feet, which will be limited to the shaded area shown of the main building. To mitigate this additional height of the hospital building, the applicant is committing to a 300-foot setback for the portion of the hospital that is requested to be 110 feet, and is offering 200-foot setback for the portion proposed to be 75 feet. The development of the out parcel will be limited to a maximum height of 65 feet, so it'll be able to develop under the normal C1A zoning standards because they're not exceeding what's already allowed by the code. The developer will be responsible for extending utilities to the site. The city does have capacity to serve the proposed development. There are wetlands on site, and the proposed PD is showing impacts to those wetlands. EPC basically asked us to add some conditions to the site plan that say the approval of this PD plan is not approval to impact the wetlands. They will still have to go through EPC to receive approval for that. There is a 30-foot TICO easement shown on site that we spoke with TICO, and they provided support for the vacation of the existing TICO easement on site and said that they would work with the applicant for potential relocation if necessary. Pursuant to the code, we did do a traffic analysis on this project based on 552,000 square feet of proposed uses, which was provided by the applicant. There are small improvements required, including a number of turn lanes at the at 3 of the project entrances. Entrance D that's labeled on that plan did not have any improvements warranted. And then also the study showed that there would be a signal timing modification required at Park Road and I-4 and at Park Road and US Highway 92. And another thing I wanted to point out that the applicant offered up was through coordination with Hillsborough County to relocate the opening in the median along Park Road to the south entrance to line up with the proposed PD across the road. On January 27th, 2021, the Planning Board found the request consistent with the Article 4, Division 8 of Chapter 102 of the Plant City Code of Ordinances and the Imagine 2040 Plant City Comprehensive Plan, and voted 7-0 for the application to be forwarded to the City Commission with the recommendation of approval. Staff recommends the City Commission adopt an ordinance approving the rezoning from C1A and Hillsborough County Agricultural Rural to the Baycare Hospital Plan Development District. I'm here if you have any questions.
Any questions, Ms. Baker?
I think I've got a question. I was curious about the 110-foot height, which is 70 feet higher than normal. Is that the equivalent of a 10 or 11-story building?
Actually, what we've seen proposed so far is a 6-story building. The applicant can answer to that better than I can, as all we've seen are just renderings at this point. But actually, in our code, we allow for these types of uses to have an elevated height already. So they're already allowed to have a 75-foot height. So it's not quite as much of a difference as what you were thinking, but.
I'm just thinking also, though, that I thought floors were typically about 10 foot I guess a couple of feet space above and below.
You generally have about 2 feet in between. I think when we're calculating, we usually use 12
So that
feet.
doesn't add up to 6 floors.
And they may not go the full 110 feet. I don't know. Again, you'll have to ask the applicant when they come up exactly what they're proposing to do.
I like to ask them that.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, Ms. Baker, thank you very much. Okay, Ms. Batzel, welcome back.
I was taking some time. Good evening, Elise Batzel, Stearns Weaver Miller, 401 East Jackson Street. On behalf of South Florida Baptist, we do have our
I
development
also
team.
need to state that you've been sworn in.
Yes, I have been sworn. Thank you for the reminder. We do have our full development team and we can answer any questions. We'll start with our presentation. As Robin mentioned, this is 50.74 acres located at the southeast corner of Sam Allen and Park Road. The eastern 20 acres was what was just before you for the comprehensive plan amendment that was also recently annexed into the city of Plant City. The request is to rezone the C1A city portion of the property to PD and to rezone the AR county portion of the property to PD as well. You can see here the area in pink is the C1A area currently. And the light green is the 20 acres AR that's currently designated with a county zoning designation. You can see the area outlined in blue. It's a little bit easier to see here than on some of the black and white maps, but you can see where it's located. Specifically, this will be, as you know, a new medical facility, including the hospital, an emergency room, and medical office. The future commercial out parcel is the area in sort of a light yellow, approximately 1.85 acres. I'm going to zoom in a little on that for you. So just to walk you through the site plan, as you can see, there's 2 stormwater ponds in the northeastern and southwestern corners that'll hold all of the stormwater retention from the site. There are accesses along North Park Road. That access will align, as Robin mentioned, across the street to the multifamily development that I believe is coming before you as well. The one directly to the south on the southern boundary. So there's 2 on Park Road and then 2 on Sam Allen. You can see a little bit better the height areas here. The light red is the 110 feet, Commissioner Dodson, the 6-story areas. And the 3-story areas are proposed to be 75 feet. And I can let our construction folks talk to you a little bit more about those specifics. As you can see, we are preserving most of the existing wetlands. There's only a very small wetland impact proposed, but of course we will have to go through EPC approval for that wetland impact. So this slide is probably the most interesting and the most informative. We have really worked both with Robin and the community to try to make this site as friendly to the surrounding properties as possible. The first thing we did on the site is we actually originally had the building oriented long ways north to south, and we've reoriented that building east to west in order to provide larger buffers from the surrounding properties. If you look from out the outer boundary towards the middle, as you can see, there's a 15-foot enhanced buffer along the eastern property boundary and along the southern property boundaries. Going in, you'll see there's a 200 minimum foot setback. That's the area that will never be more than 75 feet in height. As you can see, the current building footprint isn't contemplated to go nearly that far, but we did want to allow some potential for future expansion in the area and also have parameters that ensure that the surrounding properties remained protected. Going further into the light blue, that is the 300-foot minimum setback requirement. That is the area that the building height can never exceed 110 feet in height. You can see the 1.5 acre out parcel. And we also have 10-foot perimeter buffers to the north in areas that are not where the existing wetlands are. Of course, the wetlands act as an existing buffer, and also to the eastern property boundary. From a compatibility standpoint, The staff report goes through all of the issues that this property is compatible, as well as consistent with the comprehensive plan. But specifically, we did try to design this property, as I mentioned, to be sensitive to nearby uses. The access on Park Road has been set up to align with the multifamily project. No vertical development is proposed for the small piece of property located on the west of Park Road. And just to go back, you can see that small little piece of property across Park Road, which will just be passive uses. Internal circulation will provide access to the future out parcels, and we are adjacent to commercially zoned properties to the south. From a comprehensive plan consistency perspective, the nearby interchange between I-4 and Park Road is considered a commercial activity center, and this is the heavy areas that's designated for those more intense developments in the future of Plant City Vision Map and Comprehensive Plan. The direct access to Sam Allen Road is now planned for a 4-lane extension. There's direct access to Park Road and is less than a 1/3 mile from the I-4 interchange. The property is located in an area where public facilities exist, and the project, we hope, will provide excellent opportunities for the approved and proposed developments all within the immediate area that you've seen come before you. This, of course, is the rendering that you've seen a few times before you. We would respectfully request approval tonight. We're here to answer any questions that you may have. Happy to go back to any slides and answer any specific questions that you have. We're glad to finally be before you.
Thank you. Any questions
Thank
for
you.
Ms. Bassel?
Yeah, I'd like to go back to the question I raised earlier about the height of the building.
Tony, do you know, or someone can
Name and address for the record, as well as please state that you've been sworn in.
Yes, my name is Steven Zudenbach, 326 Nebraska Avenue, Longwood, Florida. I have been sworn in. I am one of the architects for the project. And so to your question, sir, the floor-to-floor height for hospitals is generally significantly taller than most developments. So the first 2 floors are 16 feet floor-to-floor height. Then we have our 3rd floor, which is our mechanical floor, which is 20 feet. And then, the top 3 floors, which are patient tower floors, are each 15 feet floor-to-floor height, which gets us to 97, I believe. And then there are architectural appurtenances above that, so parapets and elevator overruns and things like that, which gets closer to the 110.
Well, thanks for that explanation. I knew there would be one. I just wanted to ask the question so I could better understand it.
Thank you. Okay, this is a public hearing. Would anyone in the audience like to address the commission regarding item 7C2? That was me? Oh, wow. I don't sound like that. Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, this is a public hearing regarding item 7C2. Would anyone like to address the commission at this time? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. So I want to make sure we do this right. So, Mr. City Attorney, we need a motion for approval. And in that motion, need to state that we're making the exception for the 110-foot height in the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Two things. First, we want to do the land use approval first before the zoning. But when the motion comes up for the zoning, because there was a request for specific approval, we'll need to have a finding by the city commission approving the 110-foot height modification requested. And then there would need to be, it would also be included in the motion for the approval, and then it would be all added to the ordinance as well.
Fair enough. Any questions for the city attorney there? Any questions? Okay. What's the pleasure of the commission?
So we're voting on,
Land use first.
okay, the legislative public hearing for the first portion, right?
Motion approved, Your Honor.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, please place your vote. Record the vote, please. Item 7C1 is approved with a vote of 5-0. Okay, now we need a motion for 7C2.
Make that motion for 7C2 to include the specific request not to exceed 110 feet with a 300-foot setback.
Second approval.
Any discussion? Seeing none, please place your vote. Record the vote, please. It's approved with a vote of 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I know there's still a lot of work to do, but we're very excited about this project moving forward. Ms. Kerr, congratulations tonight, and this is be a huge improvement to the quality of life in our city, and we sure appreciate Baycare making this investment in Plant City. So thank you very much. Madam Clerk, next item.
This is a legislative public hearing on an ordinance entitled, an ordinance adopting an amendment to the comprehensive plan for the city of Plant City, Florida, providing for severability, providing for an effective date, PC/CPA 20-06.
Okay, this is a public hearing. I believe we have Mark Hudson for the presentation.
That is correct, Mayor. This is the second of two plan amendments that I'm here to present to you this evening, PC/CPA 20-06. Thank you for putting up the PowerPoint. If I could have the next slide. This shows you the location of the plan amendment on your vision map. As you can see, it is in the southeastern quadrant of the city. To be more specific, it's located north of Sparkman Road, west of Jap Tucker Road, south of Jim Johnson Road, and east of the CSX railroad tracks. If I could have the next slide. This shows the map amendment sites surrounded by the lavender dashed line. Again, you can see its location south of Jim Johnson Road, adjacent to the CSX railroad tracks. Next slide. By way of a little bit of background, this was privately initiated. It's comprised of 3 parcels, totaling almost 30 acres. It currently has a land use of Hillsborough County Residential 1, as did our last plan amendment. And however, in this case, the applicant is looking to develop this with a single-family detached subdivision, and therefore has requested the residential 4 Plant City plan category, which allows 4 dwelling units per acre. If I could have the next slide. This shows you the land use map as it stands today. You can see industrial and rec and open space uses on the western side of the CS railroad track that are adjacent to this site, and also some of the industrial lands in Plant City to the north. Surrounding this site on the north, east, and southern portion are properties that will remain in Hillsborough County today with a residential 1 plan category. If I could have the next slide. And by your action tonight, that would change the color to the designation that is Plant City Residential 4, as I mentioned, allows 4 dwelling units per acre. This is the least dense residential plan category available in your comprehensive plan. And you can see if you look up to the northeast, there were some other annexations in recent memory that garnered the same land use designation as the applicant is asking for today. Next slide. Like the last plan amendment, I have some aerials and some photographs to share with you on this site. As you can see, the red pin notes the location of the plan amendment. And you can see, of course, again, the CSX road line that is to the west, and Jim Johnson Road is to the north, and some of the large lot residential development that occurs both to the north, east, and south. Next slide. And this is a photograph that I took actually of the site, looking west from Jap Tucker Road. And you can see that it was at the time that I took this photograph some months ago in agricultural production. Could I have the next slide, please? And this is looking northeast from the site along Jap Tucker Road to give you an idea of some of the residents that are in the immediate area. Next slide. So what is the potential development? Again, as with the last one, we evaluated based on maximum build out. With the county's land use, you could have 28 dwelling units. Under the new city designation, if it was approved here tonight, you could have a maximum of 115 dwelling units. Next slide. Our staff did review this by the Imagine 2040 Plant City Comprehensive Plan. Like the last staff report, the goals, objectives, and policies that we felt supported the applicant's application are noted in your staff report in their entirety. But to summarize, we felt it was consistent with policies dealing with neighborhood conservation, again with annexations, growth management, and the provision of public facilities. If I could have the next slide. There are issues, generally speaking, of school capacity, and of course, this and other new developments in Plant City will have to go through that school concurrency process with the Hillsborough County School District. There are also any transportation improvements are required based on the zoning. Those will need to be coordinated with Hillsborough County, as most of the roads in the immediate area are under their jurisdiction. As with the last plan amendment, we did talk to your utilities director, and there is water and wastewater capacity to serve this potential new subdivision. If I could have the next slide. We did have this reviewed by the Planning Commission on September 14th. They did recommend for you to find this consistent with the Imagine 2040 Plant City Comprehensive Plan. We had the same presentation to your planning board on September 23rd, and they made the same finding as the Planning Commission. We did transmit this to the Department of Economic Opportunity on November 9th. They had no objections, and we are here this evening for your consideration of its final adoption. If I could have the next slide. With that, our staff recommends that the City Commission adopt an ordinance approving PCCPA 20-06 that proposes the changes to the land use designation of the affected parcels to Plant City Residential 4. Mayor, that concludes my presentation. I stand for any questions. Also, the applicant's agent is online and can answer any questions and may have some brief comments on behalf of the applicant and is in attendance virtually.
Okay, any questions, Mr. Hudson? No questions? Okay, the applicant has Representative Sarah Case online. Ms. Case?
Yes, good evening. This is Sarah Case. Can you hear me?
Yes, please proceed.
Yes, good evening. Sarah Case with Econ South. Address is 6700 South Florida Avenue in Lakeland. And I'm here this evening representing the property owners, the Williams family. And similar to the prior case, which was 7C, I would respectfully ask that both the land use and zoning cases be heard concurrent, and then I'll reserve my comments for the quasi-judicial hearing case PB 2021-01.
Okay. Okay, this is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the commission at this time regarding item 7D1 on the agenda? Public hearing is closed, and we refer taking action on this until after the quasi-judicial hearing. Madam Clerk, please read.
Quasi-judicial public hearing on an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Plant City, Florida, rezoning property located north of Sparkman Road, west of Jap Tucker Road, south of Jim Johnson Road, and east of CSX Railroad tracks from Hillsborough County AS-1 agricultural single family to R-1 single family dwelling district.
Okay, I think you're making a first showing here tonight, aren't you?
My debut, yes. Still nervous, but we're good. All right. Good evening.
Well, welcome aboard. We want to make you feel comfortable tonight, okay? So this is Ross Einstetter, right?
Yes.
Okay. He's a new city planner with our city. So welcome to the staff here, and welcome for making a first presentation here this night.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I have been sworn in since you kind of introduced me.
Well, good.
The item before you tonight is PB 2021-01 for the rezoning of 3005 Jap Tucker Road. The approximate parcel size is 28 acres, located west side of Jap Tucker Road between East Sparkman Road and Jim Johnson Road. The existing zoning is Hillsborough County AS1 agricultural single family with a proposed zoning of R1 single family dwelling district. The current future land use category is Hillsborough County R1, and they're requesting R4 subject to this PC CPA 20-06 before you tonight. The R1 Single Family Dwelling District requires a minimum of a 60 wide and 6,000 square foot lot with setbacks of 20 feet in the front, 10 on the sides, 15 on the sides abutting the street, and 30 in the rear. We sent out to the reviewing agencies with no objections except for EPC, which noted that due to wetlands on site, which have not been delineated, approval from the EPC staff will be required prior to any plat or construction document approval. The surrounding roads are Hillsborough County roads, therefore, Hillsborough County's transportation staff noted that a transportation study will be required during the construction plan review phase to determine road improvements. And on January 27, 2021, the planning board voted 7-0 to forward the rezoning request to the city commission with a recommendation of approval. So the recommendation is that the city commission adopt an ordinance to rezone 3005 Jap Tucker Road to R1 single family dwelling district. And that concludes staff's presentation.
Okay, any questions? None? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We also have a citizen, okay, Brian Wallace, okay, that's online. Brian?
I'm not seeing his name.
He's not online.
I'm not showing him there.
Okay.
Hang on, he has him on. Mr. Wallace, are you there? Mr. Wallace? Mr. Wallace, if you can, please unmute yourself.
Okay, while they're working on that, does the applicant have a representative here?
Online, Sarah Case, again, for the record, 6700 South Florida Avenue in Lakeland, Florida. And for the record, I did swear in, but virtually. So if you feel you need to swear, I need to swear in again, I absolutely will.
Please state that you've been sworn in.
I am sworn in.
Thank you.
Yes, first of all, thank you very much to Mark Hudson and to Ross Einstetter for your presentations. The two cases before you, one is for land use amendment for residential 4 designation in the city of Plant City. And the zoning request is for R1 single family zoning. We were not required to, however, we did submit a conceptual site plan illustrating 90 single-family lots. From Mr. Hudson's presentation, maximum density would be 115 dwelling units on this site. Again, we're proposing 90 single-family lots with a minimum lot size of approximately 7,500 square feet. With that, I respectfully request your approval for our comprehensive plan amendment to the residential 4 and for the requesting zoning designation of the R1.
Thank you very much. Any questions for the applicant? Seeing none. Mr. Wallace, are you online now?
Yes, I
Please
believe
proceed,
I am.
sir.
Excuse me?
Mr. Wallace, I need to state your name, address, and that you've been sworn in.
This is Brian Wallace. I live at 3002 Jap Tucker Road, which is right across the street. And no, I haven't been sworn in.
So please raise your right hand. And
it's up.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please proceed, sir.
I have the same question I had from the first meeting I ever went to, and this is the last one, and I'm not sure this is even appropriate, but I'm going to ask it anyways. What are you going to do about the traffic? The traffic on Jap Tucker Road is horrendous as it stands, and you're going to dump a bunch more cars on a road that can't take it. And I just want to go on the record as saying we have children that are standing on that road in the dark with people that are rushing to I-4 with no other way to get to I-4 except Jap Tucker Road. And now you want to dump a bunch more houses there and a bunch more traffic. And I want to know if it's going to be addressed. That's my only question. I have no problem with anything else. I just want to know what you're going to do with the traffic.
Sir, that's a fair question. And part of this is if this is approved tonight, then the Hillsborough County will have to there'll have to be a traffic analysis, and Hillsborough County will have to take on that responsibility since that is a county road. And so they're going to have to, the developer of this project would have to work with the county to take care of whatever issues that are deemed necessary for this particular development on Jap Tucker Road. And same thing, they have to deal with the EPC as far as environmental issues. The school, there's still several other agencies they're gonna have to work for before this would become a development, okay? But I understand your concern, and they will be working with the county on that particular issue because that is a county road.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that answer, and we'll look forward to seeing what they're going to do. That's really my only concern because I live across the street.
I totally understand, sir, and I appreciate your participation this evening, okay?
Thank you very much, and thanks for answering my question. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Also, make sure you're participating with the county on that as well, okay, when they look at that, okay? So this is a public hearing. Would anyone else in the audience like to address the commission at this time regarding item 7D2? This public hearing is closed.
You want to give an opportunity to Mrs. Case or the city staff to respond to the group?
Okay, fair enough. Would city staff like to respond to the question? Anything else you heard tonight? Would the applicant like to respond?
No, thank you, Commissioner. I believe you answered exactly how I was going to answer, that we will be permitting through Hillsborough County for ingress, egress, and traffic analysis will be required at that time.
Okay, Mr. Einstetter, do you want to comment? Ms. Baker?
I was just going to note for the record that they do have to do a transportation study through us first.
Right.
So at the time of construction plans, they have to file a concurrency application. If it's over a certain number of trips, they have to go through our process for the transportation study. Now, Hillsborough County ultimately has to approve whatever improvements are required as part of that transportation study, but we do have our own process. They have to go through us first and then Hillsborough County.
Fair enough. Thank you for that clarification.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Public hearing is closed officially now. Okay. Let's go back on the legislative public hearing. 7D1, what's the pleasure of the commission? To approve. Second. Moved in second. Any discussion? Seeing none, please place your vote. Record the vote, please. And that's approved with a vote of 5-0. Now we're back to 7D2. What's the pleasure of the commission?
Move to approve.
I'd second that motion.
Okay, then moved in second. Any discussion? Seeing none, please place your vote. Record the vote, please. And it's approved with a vote of 5-0. Madam Clerk, next item.
This is a legislative public hearing on an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Plant City, Florida, renaming County Line Farms Community Unit District as County Line Farms Planned Development District and approving and adopting the major modification of planned development site for said district.
Okay, this is a quasi judicial hearing.
Did I-
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Excuse me. I'm going to start with our with staff, Robin Baker.
Robin Baker, Senior Planner with the Planning and Zoning Department, and I have been sworn in. Oh, I'm clicking the button.
I'm sorry. Let me get you up. There you go.
PB 2020-21 is a major modification to the County Line Farms Planned Development District. The site is located on the west side of County Line Road, north of Rice Road, and south of US Highway 92. The current future land use on site is residential 4, residential 12, commercial, and industrial, with a large portion of the property being located within the I-4 Tech Corridor overlay. Existing zoning on the site is a planned development, which is what we're making the major modification to. The project was originally approved in 2004 and was approved for 2.3 million square feet of industrial uses, 120,000 square feet of commercial uses, 800 multifamily residential units and 200 single-family residential units. So as with all modifications to PDs, I'm going to take you through each modification so that you understand all the changes that are being made. So the first is to change the name. As this was originally approved in 2004 under when we used to call them community unit districts, we're changing the name to County Line Farms Planned Development District. The second modification is to remove all proposed residential from the project. So they would be eliminating the 800 multifamily units and 200 single-family units. Our third modification is to relocate some of the industrial opportunities on the site and to increase the potential industrial square footage to 2.9 million square feet, which is an increase of about 600,000 square feet. They're proposing to expand the industrial into areas originally approved for residential units. And these areas are located within the I-4 Tech Corridor overlay. So even though their underlying future land use are residential categories, they can develop as industrial uses. Our next modification is to increase the potential commercial to 135,700 square feet. That's an increase of approximately 15,700 square feet. And they are also relocating the location where that commercial can develop. Now, one important thing that needs to be pointed out is, originally the commercial was located up on County Line Road. Now out parcel 2 is located a little more internally to the project. So out parcel 1 that's located along County Line has an underlying future land use of commercial, so they can develop out with some C1A standards and uses, whereas out parcel 2 is located internally and not in a commercial land use district, so they can only develop as serving uses for the industrial. So that convenience commercial that we talk about, those are the only types of uses that can be developed on that out parcel. The next modification is the increase in stormwater acreage. It increased from 80 acres to 192 acres, basically to accommodate the increase in the industrial square footage. One thing I wanted to point out, I've taken a lot of calls on this application of concerned citizens. As you can see, it's kind of a little hard to tell, but there are a lot of single family lots along South Wiggins Road there that abut up to this property. And I just wanted to point out that this area that's labeled as Res 4 is not in the I-4 Tech Corridor overlay, which means they cannot develop as industrial uses there. So these folks that live along South Wiggins are going to have this kind of natural buffer there from the industrial uses, because the only use that can be developed there is residential. And we've had them add a note to the plan that states that if it were to ever develop, it could only be residential. But I just wanted to show the distances there. On the northern portion, it's 1,135 feet from their back of their property line to the location where industrial could develop. And on the southern portion, it's 470 feet. But if you look at the graphic there to the right, this is a portion of the site plan that shows what's supposed to go in that area. And 90% of it is water of some sort. So there aren't really many options there for them to develop, but even if they did, they must come back through this process again, because as part of this request, they want to eliminate all of the residential units. So by doing that, they can't really develop anything there. So if they ever decided to do residential units, they would have to come back and modify the PD again.
Robin, can I stop right there real quick?
Yes, sir.
So with the ETC, wasn't there an agreement that they had to remove the residential to get their approval on the wetlands acreage on the front of the property?
I'm going to have to let the applicant speak to that because I'm not aware.
Okay.
I know that even the original request didn't show a lot of development in this portion of the site,
Right.
because there is a couple of really large wetlands on the site. And so by mitigating, they'll have to speak to the impacts that they may or may not be making to the wetlands as well. But this is the majority of the area that they're putting all of the stormwater combined with the wetlands, to create that kind of natural buffer there. They're also proposing an enhanced buffer on the southern portion. They're proposing a 20-foot buffer with a 6-foot high continuous hedge, along with other required landscaping in that area to help protect the resident that lives there. And on January 27th, 2021, the planning board found the request consistent with Article 4, Division 8 of Chapter 102 of the Plant City Code of Ordinances and the Imagine 2040 Plant City Comprehensive Plan, and voted 7-0 for the application to be forwarded to the City Commission with a recommendation of approval. Staff recommends the City Commission adopt an ordinance approving the major modification to the County Line Farms Plan Development District. I'm here if you have any questions.
Any questions, Ms. Baker? Thank you very much. We have a representative from the applicant. The applicant online? No?
No, we haven't.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Would anyone in the audience like to address the commission at this time regarding item 7E1? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. What's the pleasure of the commission?
Move for approval.
Second. Moved in second. Any discussion?
Yeah, like, I was under the impression, same as you, that there was going to be no residential development. And it had, the land that was left there was environmentally sensitive. And it was going to be protected by EPC, Hillsborough County. So not having a representative from the applicant here to ask for their response to that leads me want to delay making a decision on this matter until we get a response from the applicant.
Well, doesn't the PD remove all the residential? I think it's kind of a moot point.
Well, I wasn't clear about that because it sounded like there was a back door there.
Ms. Baker, please come back up. Okay. The public hearing is closed, but this is during our discussion time on this motion here. Okay. So we heard information here where we are under the understanding that the EPC approved the mitigation of the wetlands for the property in the front if they removed residential from this particular project. Okay. And but also tonight, I believe in the beginning of this in the PD, you said that the PD removes residential from this. Okay. So one is, so we basically have it two ways with the EPC as well as in the PD as well. Is that correct?
Correct.
So the only what they could do, so if they had to came back at a later time and ask a future commission to amend this particular, okay, PD.
Right.
Okay. And they'd also go back to the EPC.
Right. And the only reason I had them add that note to the plan to say that only residential could happen in that portion of the property, because it becomes difficult for us to show all of these things on the PD plan, to show like, okay, well, this entire area is the I-4 tech corridor overlay. Then it gets confusing to understand when you just glance at the site plan. So it was easier just to place a note in that area to say that industrial development could not occur there. But that's why I showed you that little graphic to show that the majority of everything in that area is slated to be mitigation for wetland impact, stormwater. And then it's my understanding based on the DRC that we had recently that a lot of that is going to be dedicated as, you know, natural preservation type. So it definitely couldn't be touched.
It's being dedicated for life. I mean,
Right.
for perpetuity.
Right.
Okay. Okay. So tonight, if we approve this tonight, there is no approval for any housing in this project at all.
No, you're actually would be voting
To eliminate.
approve the elimination of any residential.
Well, thanks for that explanation. I think it helps.
Well, thanks for clearing that up. Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, please place your vote. Record the vote, please. Let's prove the vote of 5-0. Okay. Madam Clerk, last item on the agenda.
Other resolutions and ordinances. This is an ordinance entitled an ordinance of the City of Plant City, Florida, closing and vacating a portion of Pearl Street. I also have a resolution entitled a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Plant City, Florida, setting public hearing on an ordinance closing and vacating a portion of Pearl Street. This resolution sets a public hearing on proposed enactment of said ordinance for our next City Commission meeting to be held on March 9, 2021 at 7:30 p.m.
Pleasure of the commission.
Move to approve to set the public hearing.
Second. Moved in second. Any discussion? Seeing none, please place your vote. Record the vote, please. Public hearing is set with a vote of 5-0. We said earlier tonight, we had an active agenda, a very growth-oriented agenda, things that have moved our city forward in a big way, jobs, prosperity, new enhancements to our community, and I think tonight was a very successful evening. Thanks for participating. We'll see you at our next commission meeting. Meeting's adjourned.